You know what I hate more than anything in this world? It is the media depiction of the pro wrestling industry. On one side, you have the BBC's ICW documentary, which greatly showed the lengths that some wrestlers can and will go for their craft. It'll show the build-up that promoters have to go through to make their event get sold. It shows the actual ability they have to put on to make these shows happen. It's a great documentary, and it does show some great stuff. Please go see it if you can. The other side is you have people like Nancy Grace doing what any sensationalistic media corporation will do, take something like pro wrestling and throw it in the dirt when, to be honest with you, in this case, it is not necessarily needed. Now, tragically, Ultimate Warrior passed away last week, and a lot of us are still reeling from it. However, the one thing we didn't want and we didn't expect, although technically we probably should have expected, was a person from the US media to do what they inevitably did and just slag everything off. Now, I don't invest my time into American news media because I find it completely pointless. In fact, the only thing I would really tune into is CNN International. Why? Because CNN International does this thing a million times better than the CNN US does. Just pointing that out. And the fact of the matter is, I'm happy I left some time to do this, because I now know, and along with others, what Ultimate Warrior died of. A heart attack, cardiovascular disease, and I got it bang on, so I'm happy for that. The importance of this fact is when you look at what Nancy Grace said. Now, if you have lived under a rock for the past week and you have no idea what's happened, let me fill you in. Nancy Grace is a provocative media personality in the US who used to be a prosecutor, which is surprising. She's used to throwing outlandish accusations with no merit. She did the same here to Diamond Dallas Page when he came in to talk about Warrior. She basically just threw out that wrestling is full of steroids and illegal drugs and tons of wrestling personalities dying as a result of these drugs. Now, while I will not be the first to deny those claims, I will say this. Ultimate Warrior was a steroid user in the past, there is no question, and the wear on his body, it would have inevitably impacted him enough, but it didn't cause his death, which is something that Nancy Grace didn't really factor in. When a coroner said to her that there is no drugs in it, she just blatantly ignored it and went on screaming her bullshit. But you know what made me and tons of other fans even angrier? Is that she mentioned people like Owen Hart and Gorilla Monsoon died as a result of these. Now, I hate it when journalism sucks ass. You all can tell, everyone else who knows, news and journalism knows, that if journalism sucks, you call it out on it. This is the case where I think, wow, you don't even need to do that much research to know that Owen Hart did not die from drugs and steroids, that Gorilla Monsoon died of natural causes anyway. The fact of the matter is, when you put that in the limelight in front of wrestling fans who just want to watch a TV program, hear a wrestler talk about their dead friend, and then also mourn with them, to throw these claims around is ludicrous. And to hear exactly what I wanted to hear, in that Ultimate Warrior's death was not a result of that, which we knew in the first place, gives us more ammo just to say to people like Nancy Grace, why the hell are you even doing your job? In any other country, you would be sacked for doing stuff like this. Hell, in the UK, if you put up a journalistic anomaly, if you put on outlandish facts all round, you would be put in front of a court and be charged. That's how it is. You would be arrested for anything from libel to anything else in between. That's how it is. And in America, of course, journalism doesn't sell. It is sensationalistic media that sells, and this is the epitome of it. Now, I don't watch American news, as I've just mentioned, but to see that this person has a job spouting this crap out there is ridiculous. And you know, I had to tip my hat off to DDP, who said he was on the cusp of leaving and walking out. But I'm happy he didn't, because he showed great resolve. And you know what? To back the WWE's wellness policy, to show how much his yoga program has benefited the lives of Scott Hall and Jake Roberts, who both were on their deathbeds prior to his interference, to see a person like Nancy Grace come in and basically say, oh, that's bullshit. I know that this is on drugs. But really? Have you seen how much the pro wrestling industry has changed in the last couple of decades? I mean, sure, 2 decades ago, it was full of the stuff. In fact, 2 decades ago, this year, McMahon was done on a steroid trial, and some amazing way he got acquitted for it. And you look now, and the industry is almost, I say, drug-free. The only thing I've seen guys in WWE get done for is smoking pot. And that's a minimal thing compared to steroid abuse. Now, when you, Nancy Grace, spew these facts out there, you're going to rile up a ton of people. And the one thing I've learned is you do not need and do not want to rile up wrestling fans. But there's one even more than that. Don't rile up the wrestlers, especially when social media is about. To get a message that Martha Hart is pissed off at you after what you said about Owen is justified. You can't say these things and expect to get away with it. Now, for American viewers of mine, for Americans generally who are coming across this video, if you have seen this woman's programming apart from this Ultimate Warrior hate fest, would you mind telling me if she's like that on other topics? Because apparently from what I've heard she is, and being a former prosecutor, I wouldn't be surprised that she still does this. But it just amazes me that this type of outlandish crap journalism, even in the focus of pro wrestling, still exists today. But of course, this kind of thing annoys me more because it again allows people who don't know our industry to shit on it again. I mean, when Ultimate Warrior died, right? I looked at the news sites, I looked at all of this, and I looked at every single news site I could, from Sky to CNN to the BBC to even foreign ones like ABC in Australia and the like. And I wanted to see how they were reporting it. Now, most of them were very, very pleasant in analysing Ultimate Warrior's death. I mean, they were highlighting the significance that he'd only been on TV days prior, and it made sense that WWE were wanting to show that they were very unhappy with what was happening because it was so shocking for all of us, not just them. And I saw most of them didn't have comment sections. I thought, you know what, that's fine. But of course, I had to go to a local newspaper in the UK, look down, and you know what I saw? People say, oh, it must have been drugs, must have been steroids, look at those pictures. And what Nancy Grace said is completely inaccurate, but it allows people who don't know to reinforce things that aren't true, which is really bad. You know, people take whatever a journalist says as fact, even though they can't dig in. And they won't dig in, because they just hear it from the mouth that spouts it, and don't bother. They go, okay, I'll take that as reality and move on, because journalism has integrity, right? You know, there's a reason why we've had the Leveson inquiry in the UK. It's because a lot of the times, we can't trust a lot of journalists. A lot of them. And I'm not saying all of them, because that would be really hard to say. I know a few people who work in journalism as a profession who do a damn good job, and I don't want to slam them. I want to slam the ones who have done wrong and have been punished for it, or are in the process of being punished for it. But to see someone in the American media just do this and not get any repercussions is ridiculous. To know that Nancy Grace's team slagged wrestling off by just throwing this crap out is ridiculous. The fact that these facts, apparently, were justified by Nancy Grace and her team is ridiculous to even comprehend and fathom. I mean, I don't like what she's done. But I will say this. Now that Ultimate Warrior's cause of death is out there in the public and is not linked to what she says, we can just point and laugh. Because it shows idiotic journalism will never win. And I'm hoping that the petition and the movement to cancel this woman's programming actually does succeed. It probably won't. But if it does, I will be immensely happy, because this is the kind of programming we don't want in the world nowadays. However, in America, personality and shock value always wins out over integrity, and I'm just disgusted. I'm just disgusted that once again I have to be reminded why I hate the world when it comes to my favourite pastime in professional wrestling. You know, I don't want to have people continuously telling me all this bullshit that I know isn't true, but they continuously throw in my face because they believe people like Nancy Grace. And you know what? at least we have one thing, that the fans and the wrestlers have united against her, is something I can tip my hat and say, well done. Because this is the kind of thing we should do. You know, people in the media are going to slag modern day pro wrestling off in whatever way they can, but it's good to see that we can stand up and say, you know what, Nancy, you pig-faced arsehole, you're wrong. And it's great to see that we're doing this. And it may have taken me a while to get things out here, but I'm just happy to get this off my chest, because I've had it on my chest for quite a while now. And honestly, I hope Warrior and his family, I hope you all are doing, I hope everything goes well in the future, and I understand that you are grieving right now, and it's very difficult. But remember, of course, you've already mentioned in your statement that the fans are there for you, the WWE are there for you, and people like Nancy Grace just... people like her just need to fuck off. Guys, I have been Cream Crazy, you've been people listening, this has been a Nancy Grace rant, which is long overdue, and I will see you next time. Cheers!